Well, the third step in turning our troubles into triumph is experience. And note the order. The order is important. First, we cry out, we present our needs to God. Second, we take ourselves in hand and confess what we know to ourselves to be true about God. And third, then we start to experience the truth of that. The order is important because our emotion often lags behind the truth. Note in verse 4, David says, I cried out to the Lord, and then he answered me from his holy hill. Just shows you, by the way, the kind of prayer that David was praying here. As we've been thinking, it wasn't pretty. He was crying out. He was in agony. And yet, somehow or other, during this process, his troubles started to turn into triumph. He gains this assurance. He knows that God has heard him. Somehow or other, he knows. Don't forget, David, as he left Jerusalem and went out into the wilderness across the Kidron Valley, and then he climbed up the Mount of Olives. The Mount of Olives gave him a vantage point. He was able to look over at Jerusalem, the city that he has just fled from. And at the center point, you can still see it today, at the center point of the city of Jerusalem is a hill. Jerusalem itself is basically a sort of long, flat sort of hill. The center of Jerusalem is the hill. It's known as Mount Zion. It became known subsequently as the Temple Mount. It's where the temple of God was eventually built by one of David's other sons called Solomon. And this is the place that David looks at during his agonizing prayer, presenting his troubles to God, the holy hill. It was the place that God had already chosen to have his house. He had chosen to put his presence specially among his people. And somehow or other, during this prayer and during this meditation and confessing these truths about God, David gets assurance. We don't know whether that was just like an inner sense that God has heard me, whether he received a word from God, maybe a prophetic sort of revelation, a voice perhaps even. But either way, David had this rock solid confidence that God has heard me, that something significant has happened in response to my prayers. There has been some movement on a deep spiritual level in the heavenly places, in the throne room of God. Something has happened. There has been breakthrough in heaven. Maybe you've experienced that level of assurance that my prayers have indeed been heard and they've been answered. Well, we see David going from confession to experience. And he experiences in the psalm two things. Number one, he experiences peace. We see this in verse 5. He says, I lay down and slept. I woke again, for the Lord sustained me. Peace. Just a sense of resilience. Going to bed knowing that all will be well. I don't know how. I just know that God has heard me. And I know that God is God and the things I've been confessing about him are true. I know that all will be well. And so he slept. Peace. It's just amazing, isn't it? Because David began with this overwhelming sense of everything falling in around me. The ceiling is dropping down. But now, here we see him at peace. Physical and spiritual attack against him. And now he's able to sleep. You know, when anyone goes through immense pressure or stress, hardships of any kind, sleep is very, very hard to achieve. Nourishing, restful sleep is almost impossible. Often, when your mind is full of so many worries, whatever they may be, it's the last thing that you're able to do. Many people have to resort to medication in order to help their bodies to get some sleep. Particularly if you're depressed. Sleep is incredibly difficult. It's difficult to get to sleep. It's difficult to have quality sleep. It's difficult to stay asleep. Classically waking up early before it's even light outside. Can't get back to sleep. Often our thoughts are much louder at nighttime when all else is quiet. All we can hear is our troubles. All we find rummaging around in our minds is our hardships, our stresses, our pressures. It's almost impossible to switch off the brain. But here David experiences peace. And it says, he goes further, he says, I awoke again, for the Lord sustained me. Don't forget, David's friends, some of his closest allies, became his enemies. And how was he to know that those who he left Jerusalem with, even though they were sort of identifying with him at that time, how did David know he wasn't going to get stabbed in his sleep and never wake up? You, O Lord, he says, are a shield. You've protected me. I woke up. You sustain, you keep me going, God. He receives peace, he experiences peace. But the second thing he experiences, in verse 6, is confidence. It is incredible, it's confidence. He says, I will not be afraid of many thousands of people who have set themselves against me all round. Confidence, no fear. I will not be afraid because of what you are and who you are, my shield, my glory, the lifter of my head. I will not be afraid, even though thousands of people might come against me, because I find my peace in you, my confidence in you. I have strength from knowing that you've heard me, O Lord. I have strength from your presence with me. It's important to note that David's problems have certainly not gone away magically in answer to his prayers. Not at all. But the thing that has changed here is his perspective, his renewed vision of God and the most fundamental things in life. And we can see how he has worked those truths into his soul. And it has produced this experience of peace and confidence. He climbed the hill, agonizing over Jerusalem, and yet he slept and received great confidence in the presence of God. Isn't that amazing? Of course, it takes faith for this to happen. Faith that what you're actually confessing about God is real, that God actually can hear and will hear and will do something. It takes faith. It takes trust in the promises of God. It is part of the work of the Holy Spirit to take these truths, almost these external facts, the propositions about God, and bring them home to you, to make them real to you, so that you feel them and experience them. That's what one of the things the Holy Spirit does. And yet the means that he uses, the tools that the Holy Spirit uses, is confession. It is meditation. It is the truths of God's word, and you feeding on them. The Holy Spirit will work that into your soul. You will know that this experience doesn't just come from yourself or from wishful thinking. It comes from God. It's a sign of his Spirit at work in you. The experience is of God coming to you.